Kona, Hawaii is home to the most important event in the sport of triathlon, the Ironman World Championship. For the past 2 years, Kona has become the home for one of the top Ironman triathletes, Chris Lieto, who has won 3 Ironman titles in his long and distinguished career. Besides his Ironman wins in Wisconsin, Canada, and Japan, Lieto has won over a dozen other races, has 3 top 10 finishes in the Ironman World Championship, and took second place at the 2011 Ironman 70.3 World Championship at Lake Las Vegas. In one of his greatest performances, he led the 2009 Ironman World Championship throughout the bike and into the run. He held that lead until mile 22 of the marathon and ended up with an impressive second place finish. Because of injuries, Chris will not be racing in Kona this October. Instead, he invited us to spend some time with him and his family so that we could get an up-close and personal look at how Chris deals with injuries, how he incorporates other fitness techniques into his schedule, and more importantly, how he balances training time, recovery time, and family time. Since most triathlons begin with the swim, we asked Chris to kick off this series with his thoughts on swimming. When you're doing this race, in terms of positioning, we think about the pros all the time for Kona, but there's a lot of people, this is probably their only time here. What do you tell them about the swim? It's a mass start. Mass start is always a lot scarier than wave starts.
Yeah, the swim start, we have a big bay, and I think a lot of people tend to start towards the pier,
yeah.
Which is a straight line down all of the buoy lines, but you really only have to go around the turn buoy. But if everyone's compiled in one area, you don't necessarily have to be there. If you're a strong swimmer and you go out really well and fast, you're not going to get swum over, you can start in the front in that area if you choose to. I always encourage them to line up in the area of their experience. You start in the back,
yes.
You know, or wait until the gun goes off and you're on the beach and walk in and then dive in. You're going to actually swim faster than if you get knocked and bumped and hit.
That's a good point.
Also, though, because the swim start is so wide, don't start at the pier. Start down towards the rocks. You know, you don't want to go up against the rocks, but you have all that room to where you can still swim in the shallows. And sometimes that current in that area will actually pull you along faster than if you start in the deep area right next to the pier. You know, one year I think it was just Nico and myself, and we swam by ourselves in the shallows until the turn, and we met the group at the turn and we were in the front. And so it made it easy that we didn't have to fight to gain feet or to find areas. So line yourself up accordingly, look for clean water. If it's a tight swim start and you're gonna have to be in a group, try to get on the end. So if it gets hectic, you always have an out. You're not stuck in the middle. You get stuck in the middle and you get sandwiched, then you have nowhere to go. It's important when you swim in the ocean that you don't just go in and swim easy. So we want to be very specific in what the purpose of the workout's going to be. So today, warm up for 10, 15 minutes, get loose, and we're going to do 8 by, if you're doing a half Ironman, I would say you want to do 3 to 4 minutes. If you're doing an Ironman, you want it to be more like 5 or 6 minutes. The odd ones are going to be fast, and the even ones are going to be easy. As you go on the fast ones, you start out at a fast pace and then you build to your Ironman or half Ironman pace and then you finish strong. And then you do the easy ones to recover and then you go back at it again. And you want to be able to make sure you hit all of these, the fast ones, at that same pace and same effort. You don't want to go out really fast on the first one and the 8th one you're dying. You count your strokes, or you have, okay, from buoy to buoy, to make sure you get it, or do loops. When we're doing our fast pacing, you definitely want to focus on looking up and seeing where you're going. You're swimming 4 or 5 strokes, you glance up with your left arm forward, you glance, you go back down, and then again when your left arm's in front again, you're looking up again to confirm what you saw is what you saw and you're going the right way. And then you keep your head down again to make sure your alignment is good. Because if you're swimming with your head up the whole swim, your bum's gonna drag, your feet are gonna drag, and you're gonna swim a lot slower. So you gotta make sure that the alignment that you have, that you practice in the pool when you stare at a black line, when you're out in the open water, you definitely want to keep that head position and your body alignment in that same way. So that way you're swimming on top of the water, you keep your alignment straight, and only look up when you need to look up.
In our next episode, Chris tells us how he turned his bike into a lethal weapon and shares one of his favorite workouts with us, an interval workout on the road to Hawaii.